Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's session. I am privileged that today we get a guest speaker. He's the first guest speaker of the year, and we will be having more guest speakers from different areas who will be coming and sharing with us different insights from their field. So today we will be having a guest speaker, Winston, who will be talking to us about the idea of using storytelling as a personal branding tool. And I feel it is very important for us to think about how do we brand ourselves, because it will work for you as a personal brand as also for your business. So let me know in the comments if you can see me. We are good. You can hear me clearly. Between 1 and 10, how would you rate the audio? Are we at a 1, you're struggling? Or are we at a 10 where you can see me and you can hear me? And as you do that in the comment, also let me know where you're joining us from. I'll be happy to do that. And yeah, let me bring in Winston. Hi, Winston, how are you doing?
Hi, Daniel. How are you? Hi, everyone. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you very much for first accepting my invites to come and talk to members of Ascent Club, and more specifically to tell us about personal branding and using storytelling. I'm really excited about that. So before I give it to you to continue, if someone was to listen to you and take everything to heart, what you're going to share with us, what would you say would be the big takeaway they will have from our conversation today?
The big takeaway apparently is about you, the person who's listening. At the end of all this conversation, I want you to be at a position where you can describe yourself with one word.
Ah, awesome, awesome. So let me do some check in here. I can see Techie Pam saying we are at a 10, so you can hear us very well. Thank you very much. I can also see Brenda saying joining us all the way from Homa Bay, saying we are at a 10. That is good. If you have any question, any comment, any suggestion as we continue, I'll be happy for you to drop it in the comments. I'll be picking the questions later on. Then we'll get to address them towards the end. The session might take about 30, 45 minutes. Hopefully, I'm sure we'll not go over the 1 hour session mark. So over to you, the brand coach.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, everyone who's joining. Good evening. I don't know. I would want to know if is it possible, especially those people who joined in good time. One of them would just say hi. Is it possible that they can have a minute to say something?
Okay, the thing is, unless I put the link in the our WhatsApp community so that they can join us back here on studio. But the main way we connect with them is just through chat, because right now we are on the StreamYard platform streaming, and then they are watching on YouTube. Like you can see Linda right there saying, "Hi guys, joining us in
Linda,
call."
Linda is my good friend. Thank you, Linda, for joining us.
Yeah, I can see there's Michael saying 100% we are good. I can see Cecily saying 10 out of 10. Let me post the link on the group, our community group. So if anyone would want maybe to come live and ask a question or engage, or you can try to have maybe role play with them, they can be able to join.
That's okay. That's super okay.
Good.
But otherwise, you're good to go.
Yes, we are good to go. Let me just share the community. So the link that I'll post, guys, is for you to join us backstage. But if you don't want to engage, you can still follow through YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and also we are on Instagram. You're good to go.
Okay. I think that's pretty okay and very clear.
Mm-hmm.
So we go ahead.
Yes, we can go ahead.
Okay. So normally there's this essence in very many different spaces where you are normally pushed to have to introduce yourself. And for most people, especially those who are on this call, it will be easily relatable in terms of an interview where you are told, question number 1, tell us a little bit about yourself. For most people, that's an uphill because, especially in the scenario where you weren't expecting that question, and then it comes up. But then, high and above the spaces of interview and stuff, we do present ourselves from time to time in spaces where we're negotiating for stuff, just talking to friends, in family gatherings, meeting friends on dates and stuff, etc. etc. So you realize there is, in essence, storytelling technically takes toll on our day-to-day livelihoods. But then, for context, we want to look at storytelling primarily as a tool for personal branding. In this time and era, unfortunately or fortunately, personal branding is different things for different people. But if I were to give you one secret in 2026, it would be what's going to save you in 2026. The answer is your story. And as I was starting out this conversation, especially with Daniel, I don't know if all of you had joined so far. He asked me the key takeaway, and I said the key takeaway is at the end of this conversation, you're supposed to be in a position to introduce yourself with one word. So even as you progress, try to think around what is this one word that would best describe or define you at a go. Okay, that said and done, I will give it a little bit some sort of quick background. For background, let's look at the whole space of personal branding and ask ourselves the question of why. Like, why would we even talk about personal branding for a start? And why do we even have to talk about storytelling? When you answer the question of why, you discover everyone would have a different reason for embarking on, I would call it passion project. Most people look at personal branding from the essence of passion, like passion projects. But then everybody has their different whys to it. But luckily enough, despite how different our whys are, there is always a connection to a monetary value. At one point, everybody wants to, at the end of the ball game, be able to monetize their crafts, which is very important. So for that reason, let's start this conversation by playing the history ball. We all of us borrow ancestry from a lineage of a family. And you will agree with me that it starts from all of us were once hunters and gatherers. You agree? Our forefathers started this life by being hunters and gatherers. And you see, their concept of hunting and gathering was just basic. They just would just want to get something to feed themselves, at least for a day. Because by then the world was limited, the population was low. People technically lived in very small spaces. There was no big need for like out of the box thinking. So with regard, everybody, the man in the house would wake up and go to the bushes to find something for the family. That was the very first stage of the economy. Then as it progressed, there was need for automation. If we had time, I would want you guys to give me an idea of what you would think that automation was. But since unfortunately time is limited, I would technically tell you the answer. The first automation was a spear. Funny as it sounds, somebody invented the spear. So the spear, the whole point was initially man would wake up and chase a gazelle. That would take forever. On a day when the gazelle was prepared, it would go. On the day it was not prepared, they would catch up with it and it would become food for them. But then when man invented the spear, so they would technically throw the spear towards the gazelle, and that would mean they would catch it a little bit faster. To bring it a little bit home, the spear of those years would be the AI of today, for example, food for thought. But then fast forward, there was need to start to commercialize. Me who can't hunt, I would send Daniel who can hunt, and then he'd hunt and we would do better. Maybe if he got a deer and I have some mangoes in my home, I would give him some mangoes and then I take the deer and then I'm sorted for supper. So it kept progressing to the essence that fast forward, man became a farmer. Now they started doing farming for subsistence purposes. And they would just dig the ground with sticks and stuff, just basic, simple stuff. And then fast forward, there was need for mechanizing farming. So now it came the age of machineries. So when machineries came, now farming started to be done in large scale. And listen to this conversation from the essence of there was extreme industrialization. And then fast forward, again, subject to growth and other expansion taking shape. Most people didn't know what it is or what it is not. But then some people bet their money on the World Wide Web. Some won, some didn't win, but fast forward, technology has defined us for a very long time, up to where we are. And during the age of technology, there is the concept of social media, and social media became like the biggest game changer for most people. And then fast forward, there is we enter into the age of AI, which comes with massive automation. Why am I even telling you this conversation from the economic angle? I will tell you this so that you think about it from the essence of storytelling and personal branding. So when you are telling your story as a hunter, it means your scope is very limited. And then when you're telling a story as a farmer, your story is starting to expand. The scope is starting to expand. And then the more you move forward to industrialization, the scope is bigger. When you move forward to distribution, the scope grows massive. And then when you come to tech, there is now production at scale. Concepts such as mass production by Henry Ford, for example, became evident during the industrialization age. And then fast forward, AI now beats logic because some right now we don't even know what to expect from AI. But then storytelling, personal branding, and the conversation around the economy, every stage will require a different you, right? So we answer the question of where exactly are you doing this and why are you doing it and what are the kind of scopes that surround you. That becomes very key. But then let's also go back and do a background check to the whole genesis of personal branding connected to storytelling. So at adult age, we have three options. The three options are number one, we might find a job. So we become career individuals. Option number two, if especially if you're a creative like myself, Daniel, etc., you would go into entrepreneurship, become an entrepreneur. And then, which is very common, what is very common across the globe and majorly here in Kenya, there is the concept of hybrid, where you have a 9 to 5 day job, and then you have a side hustle, which technically speaks to the gig economy. Very important. So having understood these three worlds, you come back and understand that these three worlds will require different kind of personal branding. Like you'll brand yourself for the job market, you'll brand yourself differently for entrepreneurship, then you'll brand yourself differently if you're a gig worker, or rather that person who is in the hybrid space where you have a day job and a side hustle to keep. That understanding is very key normally to understand why, because once you understand that, it technically will give you information into which kind of tools do you put into your game so that it defines your next step. Then first things first, fast forward, the concept of storytelling linked to personal branding, I would introduce you to 5 elements. If you could help me note so that I don't steer off. The first
Mhm.
step, the journey, or Daniel, you'll be instrumental on that. The first part of the journey is stage one, which is identity, right? Then the second step of the journey would be packaging, number two. Then number three would be visibility. That is number three. Number four would be income, very important. And then number five would be impact, stroke, legacy. So let's take a trip across the 5 different elements. This will technically help us understand why storytelling, why personal branding, and why is it very important in this space as we also have conversation around the future of work. We on the same page, Daniel?
Yes, yes, we are the same page. Good stuff.
So, okay, so let's start from identity. Identity.
Okay,
Why
let me
is
just
identity
do this.
important? Oh,
I think I can take a notebook so that I can be able to identify those areas. Then we can
yeah,
see
that's
which
okay.
area maybe people have questions on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
Good stuff. So you had said there
Tell
were
me when you're
three.
ready.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm ready. I can write down. The three areas were one,
Identity number one, right? So why
identity.
identity is key?
Hmm.
Identity is key because self-awareness is the first step towards bringing us out our potential. You remember when I said the three words? So identity would be that decision, oh sorry, that point where you get to understand in the three words, where do you belong? Very key.
Hmm.
And then number two, we're still at identity. having understood that, for example, you belong in the world of looking for a day job full time, that's it. So you now get to understand your kind of story should relate to the narrative you create. And then if you decide that you are an entrepreneur, you then have to connect your story to your enterprise journey. And then if you are like a majority of people where you have a day job and a side gig on the side, again, it defines what kind of narrative it takes. But then, what goes into identity? It's a question that will technically take us decades discussing, but then identity is different things for different people. So when it comes to personal branding and especially storytelling, unfortunately, people have this notion that they're supposed to delete some elements of their stories so that they curate to the world something that is very polished, which is a lie. Personal branding is technically anchored 90% on vulnerability. Vulnerable brands, something funny, would sell even more than brands that would sell sophistication. By vulnerability, I mean there are those things that ever happened in your life and journey. They weren't very good things by your standard, even by the standard of the society, but then for some reason they shaped who you become as an individual. So a super individual who is prepared for the conversation on personal branding, they would take that misfortune and present it to the world in a way that a thousand other people can relate, and it forms your basis of expertise. They would want to come to you and ask you, I can see that at one point, for example, you had this problem, you overcame, so I believe you're the person I want to talk to. So it technically becomes magnetic for you. Very important. So while at identity, again, you're supposed to look at three things. Number one, history, where you've come from. Number two, you look at the wins. What has worked, what has not worked. And then number three, you look at the gaps. Sorry, not even before the gaps, you look at the losses, the misses. What do you think that you did wrong, you didn't do right? And then these three things, history, wins, losses, will help you to identify the gaps so that your story is anchored around those gaps as you go to the next step. So I really want to be very brief because of time. So we can move to the next one, Daniel. What did I say as number two? Uh, from identity, or we switch to packaging, right?
Packaging.
We are there? Yeah, thank you. So when it comes to packaging, this is the neat, this is the strength of it all. This is technically where massive work happens. Having had self-awareness with yourself, you have your identity right. Now you're in this space where now you're supposed to package. And when it comes to packaging, again, three things. Number one, skill set. Number two, your story. Then number three, the strategy. Very key. When it comes to skills, two things. Number one, you have your hard skills. Hard skills would involve those things that you picked along the path of school and learning. So they become your hard skills. For example, you're an accountant, you've gone through school and learned accounting. So that becomes your hard skill priority. And then number two, soft skills. Soft skills are those things that are possibly some sort of internal, they are inborn, they are with you. For example, you are a good storyteller, so that becomes your soft skill. So a super brand would combine the two worlds, soft to hard skills, to bring out a beast out of themselves. So that's very key to note. And then the second category of that element of packaging would be the story. So the question would be, what kind of story are you bringing out to us and to the world all along? So your story is technically, as I said, a combination of your history, the journey of travel, the wins, the losses, the misses, and the kind of gaps that you establish. And then let's go to the strategy. So the strategy technically links to the three worlds that I introduced you. The strategy would be a person who is looking for a job wouldn't brand themselves as a person who is in business. So would a person who is in business wouldn't brand themselves as a person who is a gig worker. Your world apparently defines the kind of strategy you employ to link your skills to your story and win significantly. So that's very key, number two. So we can move to number three. Uh, Daniel? help me pinpoint what I had said was number three.
Okay, I guess I was writing as you went along. So there is identity, packaging,
Oh, number three would be visibility.
visibility.
Yeah. So visibility now
Mhm.
is where you offer yourself to the market, is where you offer yourself to the world. So visibility again, two worlds. There is the virtual visibility, which is online, and then there is offline visibility. So visibility is wrapped around community building. And as a super brand, you're supposed to create a community both in the virtual space and again in the offline space, right? Because the
Yeah.
market is technically hybrid. Traditionally, why did I even tell you the story of starting off as hunters and gatherers? You'd realize for the longest time we existed in brick and mortar. The tech wasn't as embraced as it is embraced right now. So traditionally, we existed in that world where it was brick and mortar. You have to meet somebody, say hi, tell them this is me, this is what I'm selling. But then fast forward right now, subject to technology, we can technically do business without even having to meet in, in person. Like for example, right now we are having this conversation. I'm in a different location. Daniel is in a different location. The listeners are in different locations, but we are able to be connected by tech. So visibility always very important. Network both online and offline becomes very key for you to be visible in the eyes of those people who might want to interact with you and your brand at whatever point so that you can dispose the value that you present. And don't forget kindly, when I was doing number two on packaging, the packaging is supposed to bring out your value, right? Having brought out your value, now presentation is now where visibility becomes key because you are visible to people at spaces where your value can be recognized, and in most cases people would approach and want to get a stake out of you because of the value that you present through your efforts in personal branding and how effectively you tell your story. So that would mean naturally you work on your storytelling capabilities. And when people talk about storytelling, sometimes they get it all twisted. There is storytelling, the art, and then there is the storytelling, the medium, and then there is the storytelling platforms. So again, these things are conjoined, one into the other, and the other and the other. So just before I wrap on visibility, I keep advising people on a concept I personally call 360 degrees presence. 360 degrees presence is technically you ensuring that you are available physically, you're also available virtually. And when we talk about virtually, you can technically do a quick audit of your social media presence, for example, and then list in order of priority what exactly is key for you. Talk of LinkedIn, talk of Facebook, talk of Instagram, talk of TikTok, talk of the newsletters, etc., etc. Depending with the kind of story you're creating and the kind of people you want to serve and where they exist, technically gives you an easy avenue to decide my audience is on LinkedIn. So I am supposed to show up, be very present, and give them value through that platform. So that is it for number three, which is visibility. And as, again, I said I will try to just go through very fast because of time. So number four is the element of income, rather monetization. And monetization is where the rubber meets the road. Most people have value, but then they under monetize or don't monetize at all or get it wrong when it comes to monetization. So when it comes to monetization, I keep telling people you technically have to have your own framework because it's not the same for everybody. Depending with what your personal brand intends to offer to the world, you would realize you will monetize in different ways, but then you cannot monetize what you don't understand. That's why we had to start this conversation on the history of identity, packaging, visibility for us to come into monetization. Because the biggest mistake again people do is to rush to monetization before you package the value and anchor it very correctly. So what do you end up with? You end up with a scenario where clients don't even understand what you're offering. So it becomes hard. If I don't understand you, how can I buy what you're offering? So it's very important to start the journey from identity, go to packaging, do the visibility thing very right, and then monetization naturally almost falls into place by itself. So when it comes to monetization, there is always a framework that I use for my coaching. That's something I can take you through on a different occasion, but then very quickly, I'll give my own case scenario, for example. I said my name is Winston. I am a full-time storyteller, and I represent the Brand Coach Network, where we teach individuals on how they can use storytelling as a pathway to their next opportunity. So that is me and what I represent and what I do. But then, what is the Brand Coach Network? The Brand Coach Network is technically a storytelling led 360 degrees capacity building outfit. As an individual, even before the network, I do 360 capacity building. What is 360 capacity building? It involves number one, coaching, number two, training, number three, mentorship, number four, consultancy, number five, content, and then number six, speaking. So all these things speak into capacity building. But then, having been in the game long enough, I decided to create an ecosystem where I give other individuals, such as Daniel and you who is on this call today, an opportunity to plug into the network and get some help through the network. The mantra is you do good while doing, you do good to others while also helping yourself. Very important. So that is technically my monetization avenue. Again, Daniel, we would technically need a different session specifically for monetization because monetization have a lot of information to offer. So you can also note that for future conversation, we will do a full session just for monetization. But then when it comes to you as an individual, having understood your identity, packaged it, worked on visibility, and you know the value that you can offer, we can always come to have a conversation with regards to then how do you monetize and how does it make sense to you and the world that you're offering value to. So the last 3 minutes, we can now shift the gear to step number 5, which is impact, right?
Yeah.
Impact is number 5. So over the course of doing what you do, you also have to look at it from the lens of what kind of impact are you creating in the short, mid, and long term. That question is very important because every brand in a way affects its ecosystem. So if your brand, whatever you're offering, you should have at least 2 3 people coming up and saying, why it not for Daniel organizing this session today, I would be as green as I was in 2025, right? So that is some way to measure impact for a start. But then to give you a quick pointer into what impact would mean, for example, for me as an individual, through the Brand Coach Network, our mission is to create 10,000 unique brands over the next 10 years so that we can impact 1 billion lives globally. That is obviously huge, but it also means that we are supposed to anchor this on a lot of strategy. For instance, the Brand Coach Network is anchored on 3 things, which is community, collaboration, and coaching. Why? That is our strategy to enable us scale at large without necessarily burning out. Why? Because the mission we are on is huge, wide, and large. So we technically anchor on the essence of community. We build both virtual and physical communities. And then collaboration is like our second hand. We collaborate over and over again so that we can be able to offer scale. And then coaching is our key ingredient. We offer coaching through cohorts, one-on-one groups, etc. etc. So for you who is on the call, and now maybe this is a wake up call for you, you've been thinking about your brand and what you can do for yourself in 2026 and beyond. Feel free to technically just press that dial, reach out. Let's see what we can do for you for a start. So that said and done, Daniel, I want to believe I've utilized the first 30 minutes of this conversation. So the remaining few minutes will be donated back to the audience for questions. Kindly, if you agree.
Thank you very much. I think quite insightful right there, and I want to thank you for your time. By the way, if you have any question, feel free to drop in the comments. I can see Kibe has joined us on stage or backstage. I want to bring you on. I don't know if you have a particular question or comment you wanted to ask. So maybe Kibe, how are you doing? Can you hear me, Kibe? I think you're muted. If you would want to ask a question or comment, you can unmute yourself. And if you want to join and ask the question live, I'll be happy to allow you on the backstage so that you can also join us. But thank you very much. First, let me recognize some more people who are able to join us in this conversation. I can see Lydia Makatibo all the way in Meru joining us. Thank you very much. There's Felista in Siokimau saying, Coach Daniel, you remain an inspiration. Thank you. I really appreciate someone on LinkedIn. Moredi Gare, thank you. There's Mary Point from Nakuru. Yeah, we talked with you today. I'm happy. Rhoda, we also talked with you. Oh, good stuff to see people joining all the way in Eldoret. There's also Linda. That was well articulated. Or I think there was some the eye-opening. Now, I would want to
Yeah.
ask this specific question, yeah? And
Yeah.
especially when it comes to when you I like the framework: identity, packaging, visibility, income, and impact. But most people would jump most of the steps and go for income. How can I get an income out of this? How would you say, why is it really important for you to follow this like framework, or why is it important for you to first think about the identity? How do I package? How do I become visible? What value am I bringing on board before you start thinking of the income?
Oh, okay. Good question. Thank you. And I want to believe, Daniel, especially working as a coach, you have technically come across people who talk of imposter syndrome. Have you? You've heard about people who are battling imposter syndrome.
You're muted. Yes, I've had that before.
Exactly. So, for to answer your question very quickly, imposter syndrome in most cases is as a result of people who jump from the bed to monetization, right? Because the
Okay.
point is you would meet a person who is, yes, willing to give you some money for you to do something for them, and then along the way you feel like you are supposed to help this person, but then you also feel incomplete because you've not gone through the trajectory of working on your self-awareness trajectory, so that even as you offer yourself to the world, because personal branding is technically like starting to live publicly. So people will judge you. Some people will like you. Some people will not like you. But then you see how you respond or react to all this stems to your identity journey. So I would technically advise it's Rome was never built in a day. When you layer it one step to the other, it technically ensures that your value is well packaged and it's presented in a way that the person who is consuming it has little or no doubt with regards to your capability in that particular space. Because with especially with the internet, there is a high rise of individuals who would just wake up and say, I can do this. But then deep down, possibly they are not built for it. So you going through the trajectory of identity, packaging, etc., it is technically you taking care of yourself before you can take care of others. So that's what I would say.
Awesome. Thank you. Let me see. Do we have some questions here? Lucy joining us all the way in Juba. Great to have you. There is also Jackie in Nairobi. I think, have I seen a question? No. Let's talk about this part of visibility. Yeah. And I like the fact that you looked at it as a 360. You can be visible online. That is the virtual spaces. You can be visible physically, where people can see you and stuff. Um, what do you think? Why is it important to think about it all around it rather than just online? Because most people think about visibility only online, maybe on LinkedIn, how they interact, but also there's 360, all the different ways. Because I can tell you, there's a time I once met a client who we interacted on Instagram. I think it was Instagram, yes. And then when we met face to face, she was like, I knew it was you because you just look like your photo, like on the Instagram or the videos that I do. It's not like they are two different people totally. Like you can see a picture and say, yeah, this is someone I am able to recognize. Why is it important to have a correlation between the physical, the virtual, and all these spaces together in terms of visibility?
Okay, good question again. It's not cast on stone, however, but
Mhm.
considering that you're on a journey from identity to packaging to visibility to income and impact, and
Mhm.
this is where exactly I also advise people to think of a blueprint so that you are looking at your brand not in days, not in weeks, not in months, but in decades,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, what kind of impact are you looking to and for in the longer term? So, that question having been answered, it now brings me to help you identify why 360 presence. The whole idea is we live right now in a hybrid world. Hybrid meaning the opportunities both online and offline, right? So
Mm-hmm.
especially depending with what kind of you'd realize no man is an island. Your customers exist both offline and online. And even you can
Mm-hmm.
technically do an analysis and get to see out of the clients you have, for example, or people you engage with, how many did you meet online, how many did you meet offline. So with that, you can technically see where you are. But then, number one, offline is a good market because naturally people would technically like feel you. You see commoditization because as a brand you become a commodity. So it's easy for somebody to say, yeah, this is hi, you'll shake hands and you technically connect offline. But then online would help you, especially with scalability, because with social media, for example, somebody who is in a different location from yours can interact with your brand also. So it's about strategy. How do you use your offline networks? And then how do you use your online networks? And then why 360? Why 360? If we had time, we were to do a trip across the generations. But since time is limited, again, we can do that a different day. If you are to look at the generations from the silent generation to the forgotten generation to the baby boomers to the Xers to the millennials to the Gen Zs recently to the Gen Alpha coming up to the Beta, all these people experience the world differently. For example, right now, all Gen Zs we know they were born with the internet and gadgets and stuff. So if you are the kind of brand you're offering is mainly targeting the Gen Zs, you would realize applying the 80-20 rule, it would mean virtual is more your thing than of the virtual space. So again, there's a lot of math to do around it. So it's always a plus to do 360 presence, but then it narrows down to having understood your brand, what you're offering, and your demographics with regards to where exactly are your clients and how best and fast can you reach them at I would say average costs without burning out.
Awesome, awesome. That is great. I think those are the questions that I had from my side. Um, I can't see any question here. I think Abdirazak saying joining all the way from Wajir. This was a good piece by Winston, though I was watching while on a tight schedule. Thank you very much for creating the time and joining us. I'm sure even you squeezing that time, you have been able to learn something. If there's any question, let it come in. If not, I just want to share one more thing and then we can be able to call it a day from our end. If you're there, you have just heard about, you have just bumped into this presentation. I want to say thank you for joining us, and I'm sure you have found it valuable. This is all part of what we call the Ascent Career Club. And with Ascent Career Club, this is a community where we try to help you position yourself well as you grow in your career. Yeah. And there's a lot of benefit that you will be able to get if you decide to join the Ascent Career Club. We have one-on-one coaching session. We have group sessions, group coaching sessions. On our Ascent platform, we have over 20 courses that will help you in leadership, management, and other soft skills. We also provide continuous job application support. And you being member of this community, you also have access to more course materials, workshops. We have a book club. We also provide you with job application supports 12 months until you are able to get a job. I know Abdirizak joined us, is it in December? I hope is now we are able to start identifying some of these roles and we get to apply. I have seen some people who are already in the membership. Thank you very much. But if you're coming in, you're bumping in, you happen to see this, feel free to reach out to me. My phone number, just WhatsApp me, +254-732-2097-95. Just WhatsApp me. If you want to call me, please call me during the day. I don't like or I don't pick calls at night. But if you call me during the day, we can chat. If you want us to chat on WhatsApp in the middle of the night, anytime, feel free to ask to join the Ascent Career Club, and then I'll be able to take you through what is expected of you. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I really appreciate you joining us for this session. Any last word before we close it up? The brand coach, what would be your parting shot?
Okay. Parting shot, sorry. I would
Yes.
I would just reinforce what I started with when we were starting this conversation. I said in
Mm-hmm.
this time and era, it is very important because attention spans are going low across the board. So it is very
Mm-hmm.
important for you as a person to be in a position to define yourself with one word. Okay. It is something you
Mm-hmm.
can do by yourself, something that you
Mm-hmm.
can reach out for help on that. But then your biggest win in 2026 would be for you to sit down and be able to tell somebody, my name is so and so, and if you are to know what I do, this is the one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the easiest way to sell yourself in this time, 2026 and beyond. So that would still pass for my parting shot.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. I really appreciate. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep the conversation going on our WhatsApp community group. If you would have a specific topic that you'd want us to come in and discuss, feel free to also let me know. Next week, I think we'll be having another personal finance coach, somebody to come and talk to us about personal finance. In the community also, I'll be posting the books for our book club. We have about 2 weeks to be able to do our book club, go through one of the book that we'll decide. And then on, let me check the calendar here. I think the first Wednesday of February is 4th February is when we'll have our book club session. Otherwise, we'll keep engaging. And until then, boom, we are out. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for